Oh, I'm very happy to have Helix Sleep sponsoring this episode of the Opie Radio podcast. Helix is offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Opie. That's helixsleep.com/Opie for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. From the Glass Box Studio, 500 feet above New York City, overlooking the Hudson River and overlooking, the direction of downtown. Foxy Lee Jones, you are first on the YouTube. Vincent Scaramuzzo, you are first on the Facebook. Opie, you're a legend, man. I'm 27 and unfortunately missed a boat on a lot of your work, but I'm glad I could see it archived all over the web. I looked up to you, man. Well, thank you, Lucas Rex. I appreciate that. Karen Gold Williams, love the view. Yeah, different view today. I gave myself a lot of headroom. And also, I have to wear the hat. My daughter's been cutting my hair. My daughter's 8. And she's been cutting an inch off my head, an inch a night. Although we took the last couple nights off. But my lovely wife, we were having, what were we doing yesterday? I think we were just chilling out, having a cup of coffee or something. She said, dude, you look like the prince from Shrek. I'm like, that's it. And I marched across the room and I put a hat back on. You son of a bitch, man. Between my wife saying I look like the prince from Shrek and that asshole last week on the live stream saying I look like He-Man, I just got to cut it all. But I've started, man. You know, I mean, she's done a pretty good job, I must say. The Islanders the other night, oh, my God. I had to listen to the overtime goal because we drove home from the ocean to the city, and it was getting really late, and I really, really thought I could squeeze that game in before I got everybody in the car, the kids, the wife, and the dog. And all of a sudden, it was really late. The kids had school the next day, and they headed into overtime like, shit. So I had to actually listen to the overtime in the car. And I almost drove the car off the road when the Islanders beat the Bruins in overtime. What was it, 3-2, I think, right? Final score there? Yes. Oh, you and Bill Burr should do a one-off podcast when the Islanders and Bruins go at it. Well, they're going at it right now. I can't wait to write that text to Bill Burr when my Islanders take out his Bruins. I don't want to jinx it. After the overtime game, I was going to text him. I was going to basically say, fuck you and fuck your Bruins. But then I'm like, don't jinx it. So let's wait till after the series, and then we'll do that. One of the Knicks looks like the guy that knocked your side mirror off. You don't know what that guy looks like? Half the team looks like that guy. I've told that story, right? So me and Anthony used to drive home from the city way back in the day, and we just needed to get the fuck out of the city. And I had a side view mirror that fell off, and it was hanging by the electric wire. So it would be on the side of my car like this, and it was making a half circle on the side of my car. So we're driving out of the city, and New York has these crosswalks like every other goddamn city. You don't have to explain a crosswalk, And people like to take their damn time in the crosswalk, and I think they do it on purpose. All of a sudden, there's a green light, and there's this gentleman in the crosswalk, and I'm beeping because it's my turn to go, and he's not moving. He's now, excuse me, he's now going slower. So I keep nudging forward. Now I'm in the crosswalk, and I bump the guy. Oh, yeah, I bumped this guy, this fine young gentleman. He took a look at me through the windshield with a fit of rage. He didn't know what to do, so he walked to the side of my car and with one punch took out the entire side view mirror that was hanging like this, swaying for the last 3 or 4 months. And it was a heavy piece of it wasn't a tiny little side view mirror. It was clunky and big. One fucking punch, he took the whole thing out, and I watched my side view mirror just go like this, flying in the air, and land on the sidewalk. And I'm like, okay then. And we took the fuck off. I did not confront him after that. He won that battle. Opie, when exactly did Kurt Cobain's ghost possess your body? Cheers. Cheers. I was listening to Nirvana Unplugged. And it's just so weird. I think it's from 1993. It's one of the greatest pieces of music, man. Nirvana's Unplugged is so timeless and so good. But it's so weird to see Dave Grohl, and it's an acoustic performance, obviously, just playing the drums really soft like this in the background. And no one gives a shit it's Dave Grohl because it's 1993. And you're like, now when you look back, you're like, holy shit, that's Dave Grohl. Not only was he in Nirvana, he went off and some would say, had an even bigger career than Nirvana, which I don't know. I think we could still debate that, right? But I was watching Nirvana Unplugged when we were all just hanging out eating dinner. I was trying to turn my family onto a few of the songs. One of these days, you need to retell the college stories, like when you guys burned the house down. Oh my God, I had Buzzy and my two really dear friends from that we go way, way back. We went to college together. We're friends to this day. Unfortunately, we don't get to see each other as often. But we're planning a really nice long weekend this summer at the ocean. But they did a podcast with me. They did 2 episodes. They're almost 2 years. Wow, that's 2 years old too. About 2 years ago, we told college stories, and we told the story about almost burning down the house. Burning down the house. Me and Buzzy, we didn't have a lot of money back then, and our friend JC, he was on Brother Weeze's show doing sports, and he also was a local sports broadcaster, and he had a house already. And fuck, we were like 22 years old. Especially back then, man, I didn't know many people that had a house at 22. And we were poor, and me and Buzzy were always wheeling and dealing, trying to find places to live. Thus then why we lived in an attic. Thus then why we lived in a home that the city owned in the middle of the ghetto. That was some kind of institutional type of house. It was giant. They just wanted anybody to live in there for free so it wouldn't get robbed. Always looking for a deal. JC goes, hey, you can move into my house. I got a couple extra rooms, and he charges rent, but it's very, very cheap, and it was like real living. Me and Buzzy were definitely big partiers back then. We got home from the bars really fucking hammered. I went right upstairs to bed, and he decided he needed to eat something, so he took a whole slab of frozen bacon, I believe it was. Yeah, it was bacon. Threw it in a frying pan and laid on the couch right around the corner from the kitchen. And so I pick it up from here. All of a sudden, my alarm clock was going off. And this was like a Friday night. I'm like, what the fuck? I set my alarm clock. It's the weekend, so I keep hitting it like to try and turn it off. I'm really, really fucking wasted at this point. And all of a sudden, I don't know, a few minutes go by, and I can still hear the beeping of the alarm clock. I'm like, what the fuck? And I hit it again. Third time. I'm so mad. I'm like, why isn't this alarm clock going off, And I jump out of bed to pretty much pull it out of the wall, and I see the whole room is completely filled with smoke. I was upstairs from the kitchen. I'm like, holy shit. I could barely see the hand in front of my face. I run downstairs, and I run in the kitchen, and there's big black smoke coming from the frying pan. And at this point, there was a huge black circle on the ceiling that was about to go up in flames. It was mostly just heat and smoke. But that thing was about to go up in flames, and there was smoke all over the house. So I run into the living room. My dear friend Buzzy, who put the bacon on the stove, fell asleep. I start shaking. I'm like, Buzzy, wake the fuck up. The house is on fire. Because I didn't really know at that point how bad it was. He ain't waking up. He ain't moving. I'm like, holy shit. My first thought was, Buzzy's dead. Now I got to save myself. So somewhere along the way, as I was trying to get out of the house, he woke up and he looked at me like, holy shit. I'm like, I know. And JC, he was a tough cookie. But then again, here we are, there's massive smoke damage in his house. So obviously he's going to be pissed even if he was a nice guy. Buzzy kind of comes to and basically goes, dude, we got to fucking fix all this before he gets home, because he was still out, I guess. I'm like, we can't fix this. It was dark smoke just bellowing all over the house at this point. And so he goes, you got to try, man. He's going to kill us. I'm like, all right. So we opened up every door, every window. And I remember there was a fresh coating of snow outside the house. And as soon as we opened up all the doors and the windows, all the smoke started flying out of the house, you know? And it turned all this beautiful white snow gray immediately. And then all of a sudden, you know, then we didn't call them, but the fire department shows up. It's a big fucking scene. And Buzzy's just begging me. He's like, we just got to get all this smoke out of this house. And I'm like, buddy, I love you. We've been friends forever at this point. I'll give it the old college try, but we're fucked. And long story short, JC came home and he was livid. They wanted to take me to the hospital because I had soot all over my face. I was breathing in this shit. And I was like kind of coughing up soot. But none of us had insurance. I'm like, I'll be all right. Fuck this, you know. And then, long story short, Buzzy had to work like extra hard to pay JC back for all the damage. He wanted everything repainted. He wanted all his clothes dry cleaned. He wanted the couch professionally cleaned and the rugs. It was really, really bad. Are you still married? I was just talking about my wife. Why? Yes, I'm still married. She doesn't want to be any part of this crap, though. But I mentioned her a lot during these live streams. There's so much garbage out there. People want to start rumors that I'm not married anymore. They want to start rumors that my daughter is a special needs kid. That wasn't true. They want to start rumors that my kids aren't even mine. I mean, these people are they're just garbage. Yes, I'm married. Happily, very happy to be married. I would say my wife saved my fucking life, if you need to know the truth. We've been married coming up on 13 years. Oh my God. And we've known each other 17 years. Holy shit. I'm happily married. My daughter's completely normal, and my kids are mine. It's sad that I have to go through this garbage. Enjoy. I go to Kennedy Williams a lot. Like I said, I think you were a hater. You might still be. You might be one of these people that just takes like that and you'll turn on a dime. But you come. That's really funny. I was surprised how short Joe Rogan was. I was really, really surprised the first time I met him. Oh, all right, fair enough. Now we go back to Steve. No, Steve, the trolls and the haters, they literally start that bullshit. And they think, like, because my career sucks that, you know, my wife is going to now run for the hills. Like, why would I marry a woman like that? So you didn't know officially. Okay, that's fair enough. No worries. I just have to be on guard all the time. When you fought with your wife's brother, I never fought with my wife's brother. I fought with my ex-girlfriend's brother. I never fought with my wife's brother. Like, we never had an issue. I'm tight with her brothers. You said you met Lindsay in therapy or something else. I never said that. The story goes, my dad died right before we were coming back to Sirius XM after having to sit out a couple years. 2 years, 3 months to be exact. And my dad dies just as we were starting the promotional tour for Sirius XM back in 2004. I was already single for, I don't know, a year or so at this point. Dating I did well. I got to brag a little. I was doing well. And I was really not looking for anything serious. My dad dies, and the promotional tour was pretty much starting right after that. And Sirius XM, well, it was XM, Jesus. XM came to me and like, we totally understand. But they put a lot of money and effort into this promotional tour. Because what happened was after we sat out the last 2 years of our contract, CBS Radio owned our rights. They made us sit out a 3-month no compete. So at that point, we were allowed to, work for anybody we wanted, but we couldn't really be on the air yet. So XM said, you know what? All right, you got 3 months. Why don't we use that 3 months to promote that you guys are coming back, and we'll set up all these really cool tours in all these cities that you guys were huge in. So it was like Buffalo, it was Cleveland. Where else did we go? Boston, obviously, Philly, Washington. We did one in New York. So they had us flying all over the country and driving all over the country. So the first one was in Philly. XM, they called me like, oh my God, so sorry to hear about your dad. He was like my biggest fan, and they're like, we could cancel the tour. I'm like, I'm sitting around just mourning and depressed and sad. Fuck it, I'll take the day. I'll drive to Philly, meet some fans. It'll be good for me, and then I'll just turn right back around, come back to New York, and continue mourning. It was at Dave & Buster's in Philly, right there on the water. And a couple things I remember. I barely remember the actual gig, but I do remember at the end of it, me and Anthony and Jimmy were sitting at a table and we're just taking pictures and signing stuff. And people were just dropping cards down at me. I'm not going to exaggerate, but I walked away with probably a pile about this big from fans with cards saying sorry about your dad. We had such a cool group of people that, listened to the Opie and Anthony show. And so I just wanted to get the fuck out of there. Like I said, I barely remember being there. I was at the bar. They were cleaning up, getting everything together so we could go back to New York. I was going to drive Jimmy back to New York, Jim Norton. And, Big Kev was there. Anyway, I'm about to leave. I look at the bar, and this girl, now my wife of 13 years, is just staring at me. And I instantly fell for her. And I'm like, is she looking at me? And I did the old gag where I'm looking around like, there's no way she's looking at me. She was looking at me. I'm like, holy shit. So I'm like, I remember going to Jim Norton. I go, we're not leaving. We're not leaving. And like I said, I don't remember being there. I was in mourning. I was depressed. I just wanted to get back to New York because the gig was over. She gives me this look, and I'll never forget it. And I thought to myself, we're not leaving until I talk to that girl. And like I said, I wasn't really looking for anybody. I was just kind of being single and having a really, really good time. We ended up talking, and instead of going home, we ended up hanging out, me and her girlfriends and her brother and her brother's friends. So the story goes, her brother was a big fan of the Opie and Anthony show. Now he's just my brother-in-law. But back in the day, he was a big fan. So he went to the gig, and he had too much of a good time, so he called up my now wife, his sister, said, you got to come get me. And she's like, fuck that. She was tired and laying around the house, and she wasn't even showered. I remember she was in a wife beater t-shirt, and she's like, I ain't fucking picking you up. Go, you figure that shit out. Long story short, she decided to go get him, or none of this would have happened for me. And turns out she was not a fan of my show. She didn't know about my show, which is important. Because you have to be very aware of the people that might have bad intentions. So we hung out the rest of that night, and we all went from bar to bar, just hanging out, laughing, and just having a good time. But it was just me and her, close together, talking the whole time. About 3 or 4 hours later, it was getting late. She was taking off, and I pulled her aside. We went down an alley. This is too much detail. I don't know if I've ever told all this detail, but we talked a little more, exchanged phone numbers. I gave her a kiss. And as I walked away, and this is kind of embarrassing to say, but it is the God's honest truth. Now, you got to remember, I was a guy not looking for anything. I just came out of a long, long relationship, and then I was single for at least a year, maybe a year and a half. Wasn't looking for anything. I gave her a kiss. I walked away with her phone number. And I said to myself that night, and I've never thought this in my life before, I said to myself, holy shit, I'm going to marry that woman. And that's exactly what happened. Although, it was a little complicated because then I went back to New York and she was calling me and I was like, I wasn't sure if she felt what I was feeling. So it scared the hell out of me. So I kind of was blowing her off at first. And then she came up for an official first date and the rest is history. So So no, I did not meet her in therapy. Jesus. Okay, I want to welcome a brand new sponsor to the Opie Radio podcast. I'm talking about helixsleep.com/Opie. Right now, they're offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Opie. The story goes, I was remodeling some rooms for the kids over here, and we needed some mattresses. I heard about Helix, and I decided to give them a shot. And wow, man, the experience was absolutely fantastic. Helix Sleep has a quiz that takes just 2 minutes to complete and matches your body type and sleep preferences to the perfect mattress for you. I took the quiz with my daughter. She found it kind of fun. Why would you buy a mattress made for someone else? With Helix, you're getting a mattress that you know will be perfect for the way you sleep. By the way, it came in a box, right? I opened up the box. I'm like, how is this mattress going to fit on my daughter's bed? The box is so small. It was like shrink wrapped, I think. I'm no scientist, but I think it was shrink wrapped. So then we put the thing on her bed, and then I cut the thing open and watched the whole thing expand into a perfect mattress. And my daughter found that to be exciting. Maybe she needs to get out of the house. But we did have a really good time opening up the packaging. So if you're looking for a mattress, you take the quiz, you order the mattress that you're matched to, and the mattress comes right to your door, shipped for free. You don't have to go to the mattress store ever again. Oh, by the way, there's no box spring either, and you don't need the box spring. Helix is awesome, but you don't need to take my word for it. Helix was awarded the #1 best overall mattress pick of 2020 and by GQ and Wired magazine. All right, this is what you got to do. Go to helixsleep.com/Opie. Take their 2-minute sleep quiz. Then they'll match you to a customized mattress that will give you the best sleep of your life. They got a 10-year warranty, and you get to try it out for 100 nights risk-free. They'll even pick it up for you if you don't love it, but you will. Helix offering up to $200 off all mattress orders and 2 free pillows for our listeners at helixsleep.com/Opie. That's helixsleep.com/Opie for up to $200 off and 2 free pillows. And I want to welcome Helix Sleep to the Opie Radio podcast. Opie, why did Anthony Howard and Dice didn't talk about your dad? Of course he did. It's one reason why I hate fucking Howard Stern's guts. And even with that, I try to make amends and try to come to an understanding. But he absolutely talked about my dad. After my dad died, he was so excited that my dad died that I had some grief in my life. And then he pulled the old, he wanted to skull fuck my dead dad's skull. And Dice was in that day, and he was trying to get Dice going. And to be fair, that part of it, I think Dice did his best job to try not to, totally go all in with that. But that also affected my relationship with Dice. That absolutely happened. But Opie used to make fun of people dying. I'm not going to accept anyone making fun of my dad. Do you understand the difference? We're all hypocrites, but when it comes to people close to you, why would I accept Howard Stern making fun of my dead dad? Oh, wow. It's the dude. It's the dude from Dumb and Dumber. You son of a bitch, Vincent Scaramuzzo. I'm not turning this on for the abuse. I'm jealous, Brian Parnas. Just got in from a great stripper session last night. I know you're trying to say striper, but it sounds better. Just got in from a great stripper session last night. Super Bite. Ooh, Super Bite. What kind of strippers were you hanging out with? Mittens McGee. Opie, you need a shave and a haircut. Why? So I can look pretty for you. Look, I got a bob now. I got a bob. I am so sweaty from this stupid bike ride in the park. And I try to go early because it's going to be close to 100 today in New York City. And I also want to get there before all the farmers walk around Central Park. Now, we got a loop where everyone jogs and electric scooters and inline skate and a lot of bikes. And these farmers will just walk in the road, which is really meant for everybody that's trying to exercise. And they're just like, oh, my God, look how nice this park is. And bikes are just flying by them. And we lose a farmer or two every single year where they just get destroyed by a biker. So I try to go early to avoid all that. But I don't know. I was out there about an hour ago. I started about an hour ago. I biked for about an hour. Why don't you say an hour a couple more times? So that's what they need to hear. And I'm thinking I'll have the whole park to myself with a few people. Man, it was already packed because everyone else had the same idea I did. And then I got my super duper greens from Juice Generation, and now I'm with you fine folks. But Pat Duffy, you look like you want to speak to a manager. Who else lets their 8-year-old daughter cut their hair? Maybe I am crazy. My daughter has been doing her own makeup and nails since she was 2.5. Kids are awesome. They are amazing because I think school's kind of stupid if you want to know the truth, because these kids, when my kids get home from school, they're on their iPads a lot with their friends and by themselves. And I'm kind of lucky. They definitely check out some TikTok and they definitely do some of their gaming. But they also just watch a lot of how-to videos and stuff. And I think they're learning way more on their iPad than they do at school. So I'm a parent. If my kids came to me and said, "Daddy, I don't want to go to college," I'm like, I'm all for it. I don't believe you got to go to college anymore. Especially when anything you need to know is on this goddamn thing. All right, Dutch boy Gregory Hughes, Brian J. Barkley. Kind of proud of my daughter. I know this is boring for a live stream, but the parents out there will understand. She had her first sleepover at her best friend's house last night. Her best friend had a birthday party. I dropped her off around 3 in the afternoon. And, with kids, they have good intentions as far as sleepovers go. And then you get the call at 11, 12 o'clock at night that they want to come home. But I'm proud to say my damn daughter made it the night. We didn't sleep much because we're just waiting for our phones to ring. And she completed her first sleepover. So cheers. Cheers to that. Cheers. Yeah, thank you. I like this. It's called Looking Presentable to God. And you got to spell it G-A-W-D. God. I believe in God. Just not a big fan of that organized religion. But I already did a Super Soul Sunday with Oprah Winfrey. I did that already this morning, too. Because it's mind, body, soul. And she was talking to Sharon Stone. I guess Sharon Stone has a book out. Holy shit, man. I was going to blow off this episode of Super Soul Sunday with Oprah. They get a lot of spirituality with Oprah Winfrey and her Super Soul Sunday. I know that's kind of like ew to a lot of old school Opie and Anthony fans, but she talks to all the big, huge spiritual leaders out there. Some are priests, some are nuns, some are rabbis, and some are, what's the Muslim ones? And they all have something in common, man. They all believe in God, but they believe that it's pretty much all around us. And sometimes she talks to like people like Eckhart Tolle. So I was going to skip the Sharon Stone thing. I'm like, what has she got to offer, And I'm glad I listened to this thing because it turns out that Sharon Stone is an incest survivor. Oh, my God. She had a grandfather that was a bad, bad boy, and her grandma was kind of an enabler because, the grandfather would beat the shit out of her all the time. So she kind of had to play her stupid role for her own survival. And she tells this crazy-ass story to Oprah Winfrey, and it's in her book. And I'm like, I never knew this about Sharon Stone. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Louis Shands. God by John Lennon is an excellent song. Absolutely. Brandon Hollinger, I did a bong rip. I feel more one with everything, man. Right on. Opie with the Nick Nolte mugshot hair. I could make it even more wild for you. My wife's like, how the fuck did your hair, get wavy? It's kind of clumpy. It's like almost, I could turn it into fucking dreads if I wanted to. And how did it become so goddamn blonde? I'm like, I have no idea. I only put highlights in my hair once, and boy, did my dad give me a talking to because he was old school. I mean, he had love in his heart, but he comes from a different time, man. He never wore jeans and sneakers. He always wore slacks and and just little sort of dress shoes. That was his dress, just to give you an idea. And he missed the Beatles by maybe 5 years. He was into the crooners, and I went to college. My hair was probably about this long. I came home from college with a few highlights. He goes, "Did you?" And he didn't say, "Did you highlight your hair?" He goes, "Did you color your hair?" And I go, "Yeah, man. How does it look?" And he was already not happy with me because I came from a time where everyone got an earring in their left ear. Make sure it's in your left ear, because if it's in your right, you know what that means. So we all made sure we had earrings in our left ear. He gave me this look of disgust. He didn't have to say anything. And I quickly never did it again, is what I want to say. I was stuck with it for a while, but he was so disappointed that I highlighted my hair. And that was literally the only time I ever did it. Brian Bernard, Opie looks like he needs a fix. Brian, you're one of the good guys. Don't pile on with these savages. Look at Joseph. Opie, you're into Oprah now? What the fuck? No, I'm into spirituality. After I got let go from Sirius XM, I felt like I needed to do some things, some soul searching, and somebody turned me on to Oprah Winfrey's Super Soul Sunday, because she talks to all the spiritual leaders around the world. Oh my God, how am I going to explain this to this guy? He's probably a hardcore O&A fan. I can't explain it to you, Joe. Just finding a little God in my life, in my way. I don't feel like sitting in a church anymore to try to find it that way. Not that there's anything wrong with that. If that's what you do, that's okay. But I did not want to do that. So I went down the spirituality path. And Oprah talks to some thought leaders, to say the least. Very good. I don't need a makeover. You're going to be shocked at the next thing I do, which is just I'm going to take the Manscaped razor, and I'm going to just shave my head for the summer. That's when you're going to be really shocked. I don't need a makeover. Remember those stupid daytime shows, and a guy would come out like me, but he would have a beard too, and an hour later he walks out with brand new clothes and a perfect haircut that he would never be able to have again. And the whole audience would be like, "Oh my God, he looks so amazing." And I always would sit there like, yeah, but he's just going to grow everything back out. He hasn't changed. He did it for the TV show and his family, and they're all crying like, "Oh my God, I can't believe how good you look." And I always wanted to see what they look like 3-4 months later, as they just go right back to how they were. Yo, hey, I'm right here. I can see these, Chuck Wood. I can see this. Oh, you have a He-Man's haircut. If he was an old crack lady. Yo, I'm right here. Should I even mention Venmo one more freaking time? What's up, Chloe Fortezi? What's the Mother Love Bone song that has Chloe in it? Is it Chloe Dancer? Did I just pull that out of my ass? Where are my Mother Love Bone fans at? Mother Love Bone and Green River both broke up. Well, the one band had to break up because Andrew Wood, the lead singer of Mother Love Bone, died. And then Green River broke up. Supposedly they broke up after they opened up, I think, for Jane's Addiction. I need my Pearl Jam fans to really fill in the blanks here, because I just pull this crap out of my butt half the time, because I didn't think I was going to talk about this, but maybe next time I turn this on, I'll have the story better. But I think how it goes, Green River, which was another Seattle band, they opened up for Jane's Addiction. They couldn't believe how great Jane's Addiction was, and so ahead of their time they were. And that was one of the catalysts that made Green River break up. And then on the other side of it, Mother Love Bone was a band that was kind of bridging the gap between hair band and grunge. And Andrew Wood was absolutely amazing. I'm sure you know the song Star Dog Champion. And I think they do have a song called Chloe Dancer. And then the damn guy dies. Fucking drug overdose, I believe. He was a young kid. He was only in his 20s. And so because those two giant things happened, that led to Pearl Jam. It's the only reason you know Pearl Jam. First Opie's hair, now we're talking Jane's Addiction and Pearl Jam. Welcome back to the 90s. What's your favorite Jane's Addiction song? A lot of people would go with Been Caught Stealing. But I go with the Mountain Song is my favorite Jane's Addiction song. Good God. Blow off this live stream because I don't got anything planned. And go listen to Jane's Addiction, the Mountain Song right now. And tell me it doesn't get you pumped for the day. That song is absolutely amazing. One half formed Mudhoney, the other Mother Love Bone. Mountain Song. There you go, Chloe. You go with Mountain Song as your favorite Jane's Addiction song? It's an amazing song. It didn't really get a lot of radio airplay. No, man. Porno for Pyros. Oh, okay. Porno for Pyros was better, but both suck. Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros? Well, I think the problem with Jane's Addiction and Porno for Pyros, they just didn't have huge catalogs. But they certainly have a bunch of really, really cool songs. Green River? Oh, so Green River broke up, and then they went Mudhoney and Mother Love Bone? Okay. All right. Now I got more of the story. Right on. Yeah, it is. Chad Young. Star Dog Champion by Mother Love Bone is a beautiful song. It's amazing. And then, of course, because Andrew Wood died, the whole Seattle scene loved that fucking guy. So then they dedicated an album to him, and that was Temple of the Dog. So they're all kind of connected. And then on Hunger Strike, you had Chris Cornell and Eddie Vedder sharing vocals. And that was all done for Andrew Wood of Mother Love Bone. Because then you talk about Temple of the Dog, and geez, they have some amazing songs. And then if you really want to go stay on this road, then you could start talking about, oh no, never mind, that's different. But I'll mention them anyway. A little band called Mad Season, which was an offshoot of Alice in Chains, with Lane Staley on vocals, with River of Deceit. Ocean Size was another great Jane's Addiction song. Yeah, right on, man. Yeah, Jane's Addiction, they just had, this is what sucks about rock radio. Jane's Addiction was one of those bands that program directors around the country that controlled the music. You know, there was a time when rock radio was really huge that there were only 5 or 6 guys across the entire country that controlled what you heard on the radio, because they would play off each other's playlist and whatnot, and with the record company. So there were so many bands and so many songs that fell through the cracks. And I think Jane's Addiction was one of those bands. They just didn't know what to do with their music on rock radio, unfortunately. You know, they did throw Been Caught Stealing on, and I'm trying to think if they ever put another Jane's Addiction song on in heavy rotation. I'm not really sure. But, man, you start dipping into their catalog, and they got some great, great songs. Yeah, Jane Says, of course. Thank you, Bob C. You know, I was like, what's the other song? Yeah, they put Jane Says on the radio as well by Jane's Addiction. I didn't even think I was going to be talking about Jane's Addiction today. That's why I like doing these, because I just throw it on. Sometimes they're a bust. Other times we kind of like weave our way in and out, and we find some things to talk about. Thank you, Jack Buchanan. Hey, fan of the O&A show. Listen to reruns all the time. Some of the funniest stuff I've ever heard. Thank you. I appreciate that. When you Jocktobered your own show, Absolute Gold, some of the funniest bits. Thank you, sir. Which one? When all the comedians came in and they listened to the first show that me and Anthony did way back in the day at WBAB. Are you referring to that? Because I get ideas from you guys when I do these live streams. I'll dig that up and I'll cut it up for my podcast feed, if that's the one you're really thinking of. Oh, God, no, I didn't watch the Friends reunion. God, I had no interest in watching that. Although Jennifer Aniston, holy shit, has she held up. Oh, my goodness. I'm sure she got all sorts of work done, but I don't know, man. She looks fucking good. Then she does those dumb lotion commercials, those stupid lotion commercials, and she's putting on her, oh, my God, this is so awesome. Like, shut up. She's going to the best people out there in Hollywood. She's not using your dumb lotion. Just give her $1 million so she appears on camera doing this, like, oh my God, this is wonderful. And then she's going to her private places. And the AT&T girl has big boobs, right? With that collared shirt on, where the buttons are just like ready to pop. And then she takes her is it called an eraser board? And she starts walking off set, and you could just see that she has giant boobs. Good God. All right, anyway. Sorry about that. Ope, have you ever smoked DMT or done mushrooms? We did mushrooms at a jazz festival at the Finger Lakes Performing Arts Center. They used to have a jazz festival every year. And me and Buzzy went old school. We got some mushrooms, and we put it in a cheese sandwich because that's what you have to do. And I don't know why we didn't find some nice fancy cheese. The cheese was terrible. I swear to you, I think it was government cheese and it was cut too thick. You can't cut cheese too thick, especially if it's on a Sambo. And we begrudgingly ate the cheese sandwiches. And then we were drinking beers, and we were, for the people of Rochester, they know, the Finger Lakes Performing Arts Center, it has a beautiful covered area where you could sit, and then they have a hill, perfect, that goes right all the way up, nice little hill. We sat on the hill. Not a lot of people at the jazz festival, especially on the hill, so we put out a huge blankie, and we're just laying there, drinking some beers after we ate the mushrooms, and all I remember was two things. I remember hearing individual raindrops because it started raining, and that freaked me out. I swore I could listen to individual raindrops as they were hitting the grass, the blades of grass. This is the only recollection I have all these years later. I'm sure a couple of years after I did mushrooms, this story would have been way better because I would have, I probably remembered more. But now, being an older guy, and this is a few decades ago now. And then the other thing I remember, that people were talking really loud, and it pissed me off because I think we were just kind of zoning out. And I looked at Buzzy. I go, tell those fucking people behind us to shut the fuck up. And as I dramatically said, shut the fuck up, I was going to turn around and say something. And then I realized that I was hearing these people have a conversation that were so far away from us, way on the top of the hill. And those are my two recollections of doing mushrooms. And I didn't dip. I probably dipped in another time, but I don't, at this moment in time, I don't really remember. But there you go. That's my dumb, stupid, who gives a crap mushroom story. Oh, wow. Justin. I ate an eighth of mushrooms and had to drive a standard truck home. I don't recommend it. Oh my God. I need to hear that story. Opie, brother man, I heard Anthony and Jimmy are talking shit about you again. Do you ever get sick and tired of all the lives? Look, I was trying to take the high road, and I finally just had to kind of start punching back a little bit, and I don't give a fuck. I'm telling my side of the story. I sleep well at night telling my side of the story. And then, unfortunately, then it's up to the people what they want to believe, I guess. I guess that's how it works in the end. Because as I sit here and tell my side of the story, I think it's the right side. But, that's not how life works. So I at least get to punch back a little bit and tell my side of the story, and that's all I can do. Ooh, Vinny Castiglione. Need any address to send you coffee, man? I don't care where it is as long as you get the package. Send it to Gephardt's. Put my name on it and send it to Gephardt's on 72nd Street. I'm not even joking. It's Matt at Gephardt's. Just say, hey, Matt, or attention Opie, and I'll get it. Because I've been hanging out at Gephardt's more and more. I'm trying to support those guys because I really want to see them make their big comeback. All right, guys. Thank you very much for checking this out. If you gave me a few bucks today, I appreciate it. Keeps me motivated to, turn this on. But you don't have to give money. And what else we got? We got some nice merch at opieradio.com. A lot of good Ruizing stuff there. And I don't keep that money, so relax. And what else? Manscaped.com. Promo code Opie, O-P-I-E, to get 20% off. Father's Day right around the corner. I'm telling you, they're way more than just a razor for your balls. And it's a great gift for the man in your life. All right? Enough of the plugs. Thanks, guys. I finally started Instagramming again. And if I hit the streets later, I'm going to be on my Instagram. So it's Opie Radio on Instagram.
Boo, 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 boo. Opie Radio. Boo, 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 boo. Boom, 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 boom. Boo, 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 boo.